if this is really true and you can show the dating on this, I'll say, here, I'm going to call my server right now. I'm authorizing this. It's yours.
Yeah.
It's that simple. There's nothing to hide here. I kept it hidden because I did not, frankly, to be honest with you, I didn't want to insert myself as a personal witness in that way. Because people say, oh, he's making it up, whatever. No, I'm not making it up, and I don't want to get in there to try and divert. But you know what? It happens to be true. This happened, and we can prove it. And it's only because people are so lost in fantasy, they don't understand sequential detective work, investigation, date stamps, chain of command and control of evidence, and the way things work in a real world. I used an example to somebody. I said, let's say the police are called one day and they say somebody's dead in a room. So the police show up and there's a guy lying on the floor. There's a gun near his body. Two cops come in. One says he killed himself. The other guy said, no, somebody shot him and they dropped the gun here. Then those guys leave and the detectives come in. And when the detectives come in, they have to figure out, did he die of a gunshot wound? Did something else contribute to his death? Was he even killed in this room? When did he die? I mean, every detail that people gloss over is what is necessary to find truth. So when you have dated, stamped, certifiable, ironclad documentation, I mean, this is ironclad, then if you are going to think logically and rationally, you're going to come to a rational conclusion. Even if you want to try to say, well, no, it's a hoax, then it means that Michael Horn, Billy Meier, my friend Christian Frenner, who is the go-between for when I'm not talking to Billy directly then, Cal Korff, and 4 other people at internet companies all conspired to make it look like Billy Meier is in touch with extraterrestrials. Why would Cal Korff play that game when he's trying to take us all down? So this is where the kind of detective lawyer's mind has to come in, and people have to go, well, wait a minute, in the real world, how would this happen? And that is exactly what happened.
Yeah, possibly. And you know what? His track record with the predictions and prophecies given to him by his supposed extraterrestrial contactees would lead, one to rely heavily on the Occam's razor that, this is probably proof of some sort of extraterrestrial interaction for sure. There's a whole lot we still got to talk about, Michael, and I've almost had you on the phone here for an hour. I don't really want to get too focused on that part of the whole story because there's a lot to talk about, but it's definitely very intriguing. I'm sorry you had to go through that whole mess because, when you're dealing with digital messes like that, it can really take a toll on your stress level. So
it was rough, but
yeah,
if it helps some people to understand, then it's all worth it.
Definitely. Now, there's been some interesting Beamship audio recordings I wanted to ask you about because I listened to it and I saw some professionals analyzing the different wave patterns of the frequencies all kind of interlaced in those Beamship audio recordings. What's the I'm going to play the Beamship audio for our listeners here when I do some post-production stuff, but maybe you can just give a little background on what that's all about and how the audio equipment and the recordings came about.
Okay.
Because it's quite intriguing. It sounds like something out of a sci-fi movie, but it's quite complex because there's a lot of interwoven frequencies all happening at the same place. And from what I understand and what I remember from the video is that one of the analysts, an audio engineer, seems to say that it's almost too complex for a synthesizer to kind of compose something like that. Now, I mean, granted, this took place a couple decades ago.
Exactly. At that time, it was too complex for a bank of synthesizers.
Right. Very intriguing. So how did it happen? This was something that was heard over, what, tens of kilometers? Or just
it was heard for miles and miles or kilometers and kilometers. Yes, as a matter of fact, Meier had 4 separate occasions during which he recorded the sounds and in the presence of up to 17 witnesses that included a private investigator. So, or an undercover policeman, that's what it was. So there's no doubt that this was, recorded outside. That all these people were there. They were hearing it for, great distances. Of course, the skeptics can't wrap their head around that because, they have to be right. They have to have the explanation for everything, even when they have the explanations for nothing. But indeed, Meier recorded this. On some occasion, even his wife was present, who later on, called him a liar, even though she'd passed a lie detector test that everything was true. This was spectacular evidence. People can download a clip of it from my website. We even sell I think a 26-minute version or 24-minute version of it or something if people even want that.
Yeah, it's a long clip. It's longer than that, though, the original clip, isn't it?
The original clip, there's 42 minutes or something, but we have like a 24-minute version of it that's, on a CD or something like that. Yeah, on a CD. It's called the Beamship Symphony. And they found a total of 24 audible and 8 calculated sounds spanning, the hertz level from low to high. The 8 in the inaudible range were calculated, I guess, as overtones or something like that. I'm not having it right at the top of my memory here how they did it, but they were able to detect that there were 8 sounds in the inaudible range that were present somehow there. But the 24 even, they were showing them on the scope. Look at how these things are interacting and jumping all over the place.
Yeah.
We can't do that with synthesizers.
I want to keep this seamless, so I'm going to, just for the audience listening, this is the Beamship audio right here. Okay. So it's pretty intense stuff. It's a really intriguing sound. I only just came across this today after all of these years of knowing about Billy Meier and the case. I didn't realize that there was these audio recordings of the Beamship. And I wanted to just set that up for listeners for them to hear that. You said this happened about 4 times and was recorded by professionals. So I guess Billy was saying that this was the Beamship. Is this?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
As a matter of fact, I think one of the people who analyzed one of the sound things then went and used some equipment to illustrate the kind of sound source that he calculated it would come from, and he basically, without ever having seen the photograph, illustrated the wedding cake UFO.
Yeah.
It was amazing. See, the evidence here, it spans all these categories, and, as I mentioned, the witnesses, too, there's a retired UN diplomat who was a witness to this. It's just a phenomenal thing.
There's one really, really cool video I just want to mention before I forget, where it shows one of these ships that he's videotaping, and then all of a sudden it just completely disappears, and you can see the camera still rolling, and then all of a sudden it pops back into frame, and then it happens again. And he's got an explanation for that one as well, right?
Well, he just said they have the ability to go out of dimension rather instantaneously and then pop back in. And, there are people that have done some kind of, quasi simulations of it, but you can tell it's not a real large object a distance from the camera. It's a small model that they yank up into the air really quickly. Meier's objects are, recognized by photographic experts as being large objects that are a distance from the camera. So it presents problems for people that want to try to say, Meier's just, hoaxing everything. No, Meier wasn't hoaxing anything.
Yeah, no, it's a remarkable piece of footage. I think that's on theyfly.com on your site there. I think that's where I saw it, actually.
It's linked from there. I've got so much stuff, I don't even, to be honest with you, I don't know if I have it there. I know that is on YouTube. We have it in the film, of course. We've got it in the film, but...
Yeah, it's all directly linked. I think it may have come from a video maybe I was watching on your site. But anyway, regardless, it's really cool. I just wanted to mention that before I forgot all about it. So we talked about the Beamship recordings, all those videos and pictures. There was a question that I had, because I swear I came across some pictures. It may have been in Nick Redfern's new book, Contactees. I'm not quite sure, but aren't there photographs that Billy took of the Plejarians themselves?
Well, actually, as far as the Plejaren go, the best of my knowledge, what he did is he took partial photos, and I'm not sure if they're Plejaren or Lyran, of one or two of the women holding the laser pistol. And they cut the face off so the face wasn't recognized. Well, of course, people were, peeved by that. But they rightly figured, look, it doesn't matter because we're human beings, so people could even say, those are just Earth humans. As a matter of fact, it's the famous Asket and Mira debate.
Yeah.
But we have evidence that on our site shows that, that was not a hoax. That there was very likely, of course, there was some messing to photographs by perhaps intelligence community people, more than likely, who inserted things. But when you read the analysis and you look at the photos in that article, which is very well done by I don't know if it was Jerome who did it or one of the people, but it's a very good article. It just shows Meier didn't hoax anything. He didn't photograph the Dean Martin dancers, and there was some very interesting manipulation done to photographs to try to discredit him. But this is the thing, that you dig and then you go, oh, wait a minute here. And plus, Meier was, and I have the book it's in, prior to there ever being a controversy about the so-called Dean Martin dancers, there's a transcript from, I think, 1976 or 78, where they tell Meier, by the way, there's two women in America who are, virtually doubles for Asket and Mira. And he says, well, gosh, I'd like to, why don't you show them to me, or, somehow let's take a closer look. And they said, no, we can't do it. And he said, why? He said, we don't want to tell you. We have to not do that. They knew, because they had, they can do some future accessing, They knew that Meier was going to walk into this thing, and they couldn't prevent that. They knew it had to happen, so they simply kind of went on record before and acknowledged two women in America who are, and then even the alleged time of the photograph supposedly was taken supposedly from the Dean Martin show. I'm pretty sure it was even after the transcript was published. Or this stuff can keep you busy for years, literally, as it has kept me busy for 32 years, just going through all of it and weeding through and challenging stuff. And
okay, hold on. Let me get this straight. Are you saying that somebody had slipped the pictures of the Dean Martin dancers out to the public, claiming that they were the photographs Billy took?
Yeah, what happened is Meier got photographs back, and a lot of times Meier didn't even go through his own photos carefully. He took them, he'd throw them in a shoebox. Sometimes some of things, including films, there are more films that never came back from processing than that he has. And some of them were mind-boggling from what people have said, that they knew what the films were, films taken on another planet or outer space. I mean, stuff that, God, let's see that. Well, that stuff ended up in the possession of intelligence community, unfortunately. So as far as the Asket and Mira photo thing goes, I can send you the link to that, and you can read that whole thing for yourself, and your listeners can also go over it and see what they think. But I think they'll find out, and when they look, they're going to see, hey, wait a minute, Billy's photos and the so-called Dean Martin dancer photos, they're not the same people.
Okay.
How come? How is it that... And you can tell, it's amazing. There's one place where the guy puts up the two faces side by side. They're totally different.
Wow.
They're just totally different faces.
Did you want to let everyone know out here what that link is?
Oh, yeah. Well, you go to theyfly.com/Asket. Well, you know what? They should just look up Asket and Mira. Asket and sign Mira. ASKET and NERA. And I'll also send that on to you. I'll send links on to you so that you can have them available too. And you'll go through that, and then you'll start seeing it, and you read, how this was done, and what a hatchet job has been done on this man, literally. I mean, look, he survived 21 attempts on his life. They couldn't kill him, so they tried to kill his, credibility, assassinate his character.
Yeah, I forgot to mention that. Yeah, there was a few assassination attempts, right? And some
21.
evidence, 21 assassination attempts, and that's verified.
Yeah, those are witnessed by other people. They finally stopped filing police reports when the police weren't doing anything about it. When I was on the property